I'm live. Welcome. Morning. It is Friday, March 3rd. I'm Sensei Mish. Welcome to Morning Tea with me. I've got my tea. I had like a half a cup of tea earlier today, but I had to take my daughter to school. She's off gallivanting around. I think she's going to Western State for some band thing. So I had my tea and then it got cold. So got my nice warm cup of tea. So what's been happening? Let's see. It has been a very, very good week to be a fan because science fiction fan, because right now we've got The Last of Us on Sundays. We've got Mandalorian and Bad Batch on Wednesdays, and we've got Picard on Thursdays. And it's some really good television. I'm kind of excited. So my Wednesday was completely messed up. What is it? I didn't get to watch any Mandalorian. Oh, and I get a spam risk call. Good morning, Emmett, or good evening. How are you, sir? So we were basically moving the last of my stuff last of the stuff out of my my parents' home, my mom and my stepdad, because my stepdad died. My mom passed 7 years ago. You guys all know that story. Anyway, so we were doing the final move out. I got this couch. They have this really huge couch. This was barely ever used. We got a brand new couch, and that was really all we were going there for. So I got my son. Good morning, Harvey. How are you, sir? I got my son involved, and we get there, and Mark Jr., that's Mark's, I guess he's the eldest. He's like 54, I think. Anyway, so he's like, yeah. So he's the couch, and he goes, there's all these other little things if you want. And so there was this TV and this little kind of coffee table thing that Lucas ended up wanting, and so we ended up making 2 trips. Emmett is fantastic. My wife just gave birth to a baby girl yesterday, little Cara. Life couldn't be better right now. Emmett, I am so happy for you. That is fantastic. I can't remember because I remember you saying that your wife was pregnant. But I can't remember if that was your first child or second or third or anything like that. Good morning, Jim. How are you, sir? So, but congratulations, Emmett. That's awesome. There is, I think, when you look at all the accomplishments that you have over your life, graduating from university or high school, or getting a black belt, or writing one of your favorite books, or meeting somebody. I think really when it comes down to it, it's my 3 kids are my greatest 3 accomplishments. They've turned into some wonderful people. They're human, so they don't always make the best choices, but I think being a father, I think, is my greatest accomplishment. And it's funny because my sister was given a whole bunch of papers, and I had this list of stuff that I wrote down, and actually, you know what? I'm going to try and find it. She sent me a picture. I actually have the paperwork. I just had never gone through it. but it was super funny. Maybe she shared it with Lisa too. Maybe it's a little bit further down. Okay. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know when I wrote it. But that's what she sent me. That's my horrible handwriting. And it says, things I want to happen in my life. Okay. This is funny. She sends this to me, but it says, graduate from high school. I was a really crappy student, but graduate from college with a degree in business or English. Okay. I did study English. I never did graduate from high school or from college, but I was an English lit major. So yeah. And then design and build my own car. I had high high expectations of myself. If I can't do that, a 65 Stingray or Lamborghini would do fine. So at least I have good taste in cars still. Meet the crew of the Enterprise. That's got to be on the list. And I've done that. I haven't, of course, been able to meet all of them, but through conventions, I've been able to do that. To collect the entire Star Wars figure and ship sets. Now, this is back in the day when there was only like maybe 100 action figures, and now they've got like it's in the whole industry. And then to collect all the Star Trek movies and movie posters. That I have done. 8, to get married and have a family. So, and then I wanted to also and own an entire 18-hole golf course, because back in the day I actually used to golf and enjoyed the sport. I kind of do. I don't think I've actually swung a golf club in years, but yeah, to get married and have a family. So, but yeah, so Emmett, I even though I kind of took on some of that because it's my show, I am happy for you. I think that's amazing. So congratulations. The other things on this list, this is funny. You can kind of tell about when I wrote this. Of course, it doesn't have a date, but it's one of those where it says things I don't want to happen in my life. Number 1 is get AIDS. So I probably wrote this sometime in the 80s. Okay. Now I was born in 72. So I'd say, when the AIDS epidemic was big, we didn't know, a lot about it. I'm kind of guessing. 2 is to die young. 3 is serve in World War III. 4 is to flunk a grade. And that could have been in high school because I was not doing very well. And I actually failed my first. It was world history. It was the first semester of world history. So I actually had to go to summer school after my freshman year to make up that. And then because I failed that class, my dad made me take other classes. So I went to school all summer. And then when those credits transferred back up to my high school, I actually ended up graduating with more credits, like 3 or 4 more credits than I needed. So, let's see. Oh, and then last, become a drug addict. So, yeah, I think that was when my sister sent this to me. She sent the picture and she's just like, I'm dying. So I thought that was some pretty funny stuff, but I just there you go. Shared that with y'all. Let's see. Last night, Ashton and I did some, let's see. We got some people popping in here. Fifth child, 4 daughters and 1 son. That's awesome. I mean, it's funny because when I was 18, I did not want, and Young, I will reintroduce the list here very quickly. This is what is it? When I was younger, I didn't want kids. I mean, well, I lie. It says get married and have a family. But as I got into my like later teens, like I didn't like kids. I could not stand my little cousins. My mom did to bring money in for our family because my single mother. She basically ran a daycare out of her house. So I was surrounded by all these, little shitty kids from the Southwest Hills. And it was one of those where I think I just came to not wanting kids. When I met my wife, I was like, when I met Lisa, it was one of those where it was like, I knew she was the one. It was just one of those typical romance novels of I saw her and I knew that she was going to be the woman I was going to marry. It was no question in my mind. So I was like, yes, I want to have kids with her. And I remember when we started talking about kids, I wanted 3 kids. And because I just grew up with my I grew up with just one true sister. I mean, my dad had his family, but and so technically I have 2 half sisters out there, but I don't keep in contact with them. I don't feel I need to have a full life. So and of no fault of their own, they are a product of my wicked stepmother. But yeah, she's just a evil bitch from hell. So anyway, so I wanted 3, and then we had Ashton. He's my eldest, and it was so funny because my wife, she, the place that she worked for, they traveled. So they would travel sometimes. So she goes off to this conference for a week, and maybe it wasn't a full week, maybe it was like a full weekend, but it was longer than 3 days. And when she got back, I was like, 1 kid. I just want just 1. So yeah, it was it was pretty funny. But then we ended up having our 3 kids, and it's been amazing. Now, we actually considered having a 4th. We had talked about it, and we and even considered potentially adopting, but that never happened. Now we have a grandson who's almost 2. He's just a couple months away from being 2, and he is a joy, but we just go, we don't know how we could have done a 4th kid. So yeah, it's just it. When I was 18, I had a pregnant girlfriend. 18 years later, she is my wife, and we have 4 more kids. So you can meet your wife at 16 and have a long, happy marriage. Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. My like my eldest son, he and his wife started dating in high school, and I think they dated for like 6 years, and they and they had actually planned a wedding, and then all of a sudden she was pregnant, and so the wedding was kind of put off. In fact, this is weird. So they get engaged they had been dating about 6 years. They got engaged, and then we're going to plan the wedding out until like like 3 years out because they wanted to get married on October 13th, which was a Friday. So whatever year that fell into, and I think that might actually be, was it this year? Let's bring up my calendar here. October. Yeah, it was actually 2023. So they were actually wanting to get married in 2023 because Friday the 13th, and get married on the day they started dating. So anyway, and then she gets pregnant. They have James, and they just decided, well, let's just get married, So, so yeah, and they're still happily married. They've been together for a while. I've been with my wife for, let's see, Ashton's 25. So we've been married 26. That means we've been together for 28 years. So, probably 29 coming up in May, June. So yeah, it's, yeah. Let's see. Rob is here. Good morning, Rob. Yeah, when I talk about my stepmother, I don't hold back at all. Let's see. My wife was one of 5. She told God that she didn't want to have 5 kids. She had one, and then she had quadruplets. Oh my gosh. That's just crazy. Yeah, so Lisa had 2 kids before we met, and one she gave up for adoption. One was sick and ended up passing away. But and so when I told her, I was like, I kind of like to have 3 kids. She said, what was it? She's like, but that's 5 babies that are going to come out of this body. I just don't, just don't want it. So when Ashton was born, and I was like, I'm done. Just one, I'm just done. And one and done. She's like, no, I don't want him to be a spoiled brat. He's going to have a sibling. And so when we had Lucas, I was like, okay, there's our 2, because she's like, no, 2 is fine. She's like, no, but I want my girl. I want my girl. So when Alexa came around, when she found out she was pregnant, I was like, this is 3. And if it's a boy, we're stopping. Like, we don't need any more. So luckily Alexa was, Alexa came out, and we got 2 boys, a girl, and it's just awesome. I've been married since I was 20. Jim, are you 70? Oh my gosh, you are 70 now. But not to the same person. And that happens. So like when we talk about like true love and who we're going to be connected with for the rest of our lives, my mom, and forgive me if I get emotional because I just do now. So my mom and Mark, my stepdad, they knew each other when they were in 7th grade. And I can't remember if he asked her to marry her when he was in 7th grade, or if they just had this, 7th grade dating thing. But it was funny because she was like, yeah, he was my boyfriend when I was in 7th grade. And then he moves. I don't know why he moved, but he moved, and he joins the military, goes to Vietnam, becomes an officer, chooses the Marines as a career. So he served, I think, 30 some years as a Marine. In that time frame, he had gotten divorced. He had 2 boys. They're both older than I am. His youngest is a year older. I don't know if I had mentioned that on a previous show, but it was their 50th anniversary or 50th reunion of like grade school. Cause it wasn't even high school. It was a grade school reunion. It was a 50th anniversary, and 9/11 had already happened. And that's important in the story because it is. But he had what was it? Like he didn't have social media. My mom didn't have social media, and social media really wasn't around too much then. But she had, and I can't remember exactly when this was. This was after 9/11, it was early 2000s. So she had their 50th anniversary reunion came up, and I guess he was planning to go, but only if my mom was there. And I guess he reached out to somebody that he knew from the school and was like, "Hey, do you know if Sybil's going?" And so he ends up going. My mom always went to that stuff. So she goes, and maybe it wasn't the 50th anniversary, but it is what it is. So, um, uh, so she goes, and and then what is it? And he goes. They meet up, and really the rest is history. They started dating. He actually lived in Virginia, and what is it? And then he ended up moving out here. They got married. But basically, the whole reason 9/11 came out is because for him, 9/11 reminded him. I can't remember exactly how my mom phrased it, but basically, it was that event affected him in the sense that um, if you want to do something, make sure you do it. So yeah. So and then the rest is history. The rest is history. So yeah. Anyway, and of course, my mom, she and my dad got divorced years and years and years and years before. I think I was like 5. So 5 or 6. Let's see. Emmett. I know a guy at age 12, he was crazy about a girl. Her older sister married them, like messing with them. Ironically, she went on to work at a jewelry store, and and last year, at age 32, she sold her ex-husband and his wife their wedding bands. Oh my God! Okay, that's pretty funny. His wife still doesn't know he had a childhood thing with a jeweler. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a good one. Joel, welcome to the show. And then let's see, what else have I missed going on here? Oh, Rob and Jim are talking about books. That's awesome. And then let's see. All right. And apparently Rob is going to Jim's camp in April. So Jim is off. Jim is having his camp at the beginning of April. So basically a month from now. So Rob's going out there to Indiana. I'm not going to be able to make it out there, but I plan to make it out there in September. Harvey, I'm off to get ready to travel, heading out to Japan for a bit. Oh, I knew it was sometime in March. I couldn't remember. So, but I will let you know, Harvey, and everyone else. Ashton and I got together last night, and what is it? What was I going to say? We got together last night and filmed the first 15 applications for Naihanchi with the crimp. So I have stills for the book, and then I actually have a video for the instruction. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah, have fun. Fair winds. Yeah. So it's it's so cool. It is so cool. And we would have done the entire thing, but we'd started after class, and and my mom, Lisa was watching James, because Ashton's wife was working. So, and we just didn't have a lot of time. So we filmed for about 2 hours, got a lot of stuff done. We didn't film any Q Show Corner episodes, so it's like, but it is what it is. So there won't be any new episodes coming up here soon, unless of course I do something by myself or I beat up on my daughter. But yeah, so yeah, we got half of it done. When he gets back from his vacation, we're going to film the other half. So basically in about 10 days, we're going to finish off the video. And then between then and now, I'll do what I need to do. So let's see. Thanks. It's nice to meet you. I'm highly dedicated and up in Waukesha. I can't pronounce that. Is that Wisconsin? Wyoming? I'm not really good at state abbreviations, but that's cool. That's cool. I hope to meet Gary Rooks and Jim Korn someday. Well, I don't know how to meet Gary, but Jim, Wisconsin. Okay. Yay. If you can ever make it out to Washington, Indiana, at least 2 times a year. And the last time I talked to Jim, he was actually thinking about starting to do like every 3 months, doing a smaller seminar, but doing one every having like 4 times a year. But yeah, it'll be pretty cool. So, but he has one in April and in September. And this year it's the, Gary Rooks is going to be there in April. That's awesome. Okay. So Joel, there you go. You can meet both of them at the same time. So, April, what weekend is it, Jim? It is, it's what, April 1st. It's the weekend of April 1st. Yeah. So it's a Friday night, all day Saturday, and most of the day on Sunday. So you got the 31st, April 1st, and April 2nd. So down there in Washington, Indiana. So yeah, it's going to be a great thing. And Rob's going to be down there with let's see. Rob is going to be down there. Oh, okay. My mistake. No Friday. So it's just the 1st and the 2nd. Okay. Thank you, Jim. But yeah, so what was I saying? So yeah, Washington, Indiana. If you can make down there, you can always fly into Evansville. That's about 30 to 45 minutes away. And then, or you can fly into, what is it? Indianapolis and drive down. That's just maybe I think 2 hours away, something like that. I think Jim was telling me. So, David Hogan is going to be there as well, along with Bruce Chu. Rob, do you know if Chris is going to be there too? I don't know. And then a bunch of other regulars. You got Richard, and I don't know why his last name escapes me right now. Smithart. Okay, so you got Richard Smithart, you got Jim Greenwood, Eric Elliott, Dan, and then let's see, probably Jim Johnson will be there. He's always there. Anyway, you're gonna have a lot of, there's a lot of really, really cool and talented martial artists that show up at these camps that Jim holds. And unfortunately finances and school and all. Ed Daniels, I can't remember if I said that, but Ed Daniels will be there as well. So yeah, so that's great place. It's a camp you shouldn't miss. I remember I went out there for the first time July of 2018, and I have missed some in between, but I try and go out there as much as possible. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it this April. I think I went out there last April, last September. But anyway, so I've been out there more than a few times. Jim is a gracious host, and yeah. So all is invited. All is invited. Gary Rooks is awesome. His stuff is great. I'm a big fan of Evan Pentazzi's work too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Evan will ever show up, but that's awesome that Gary's showing up. But yeah, I think in a way, I kind of wish I could go out there because I've always wanted to meet Gary, but it is what it is. Let's see what else is going on. Yeah, I think that's just a lot of great stuff. So yeah, I saw a comment where, okay, so Young Naihanchi, yes. So Bram Frank's crimp, and I usually have one near me, but I don't know why. And I'm sure you've seen me hold a crimp before. Anyway, so his crimp, there's some of the entries that Bram does. I see, like I was like, even Harvey had pointed it out, where there was some stuff that we were doing with Bolo, and he's like, "Oh, this looks like it comes out of Naihanchi," and I was like, "Yeah," and then when I started looking at some of the crimp entries, I was like, "Well, that kind of looks like a Naihanchi move. Like I could interpret it that way." And so because the crimp is, I think Harvey coined it best. It is the best Kyusho tool Kyusho people are not using. So yeah. And then let's see. And then we have, let's see, Kyusho. And so with this crimp and Naihanchi, it was one of those where it's like, this could work. So I took the applications, the entries, put those in there, and then came up with a bunch of others. So I have like maybe 28 solid applications that fit within the techniques of Naihanchi. And so I'm putting together a book, and it's going to be a visual reader, as Dan Anderson says it. So there's going to be a QR code, so you can scan the QR code, watch my video. So it's just like the QR codes that I have in the information guide, but these will be videos that you can only access if you actually have the book. So let's see. Ireland is lacking any Kyusho other than my own group. I haven't been able to find any other Kyusho practitioners. And that's sad when that happens. Like, I think I'm really the only Kyusho guy out here in the Pacific Northwest. Pacific Northwest, let's say the Portland, Vancouver area. Let's see. Maybe we can go to California for Evan. When is Evan going to be in California? Because I've actually never met Evan either. Evan and I have had words over the internet. But I've never actually met him. Is he going to be in California? Let's see. John Dugan is out of Tipperary. Oh, there you go. You can always sponsor a seminar in Ireland. Jim will be glad to go. Oh no, Evan lives in somewhere in the Boston area, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So there. Yeah. See, Jim will go to Ireland, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people who go to Ireland too. And yes, I was going to get to the list. Okay. So when I don't know, I can't remember how I got into this list, but my sister, I was talking about going through my mom and dad's stuff. And let's see. So she was going through a bunch of papers that she had kept. And she sent me a picture of this list I made when I don't know how old I was. Let's see. Oh, here it is. So you can see the writing. Okay. I'm going to say this was the 80s, but it's a list of things I wanted to happen in my life and things I don't want to happen in my life. So I wanted to graduate from high school, college with a degree in business or English I was an English lit major, never did graduate. Design and build my own car. If I didn't have that, let's see, I wanted a 65 Stingray or a Lamborghini. I wanted to meet the crew of the Enterprise, which I've done most of. To collect and to collect the entire, and I think I spelled entire wrong, Star Wars figure and ship sets, to collect all the Star Trek movies and most movie posters, which I've done, to get married and have a family. So that's where that kind of came up with, because Emmett had said that he has a brand new daughter. So and then to own an entire 18-hole golf course. And then things I didn't want to happen was to get AIDS, die young, serve in World War III, to flunk a grade, and become a drug addict. But I'm guessing that it was probably done in the 80s, because to get AIDS, like, why would I write that? So I think that was because in the 80s that was a big thing. So yeah, so Evans is in Salem in Boston. Okay. Let's see. He does train a lot in Mansfield, in California, though. To get a tattoo of the Enterprise isn't on the list. I didn't grow up with a lot of people with tattoos. In fact, I don't think. Yeah, my grandfather didn't have any tattoos. As far as I know, my stepfather didn't have any tattoos. So growing up, like none of my aunts and uncles or anything like that, none of them had tattoos. The first person that I really knew who got a tattoo was my sister, and she got a tattoo of a little soccer ball on grass on her foot. And she did it before I think she got it when she was like 16. And so she wore, she used to wear a Band-Aid over it. So, so mom wouldn't see it. It was actually pretty funny. But yeah, so, but I never really was exposed to anybody with tattoos until I was an adult. And it wasn't like I knew like tattoos existed and you see them on TV and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't know anybody who had a tattoo. So that just wasn't part of that just wasn't part of the culture I grew up in. So, but yeah, I mean, that's what I have now. And in fact, I've actually thought about this week going and getting the Delta to go down this way. So I have a Spock tattoo on an unfortunate area. 19 alcohol, gambling, and stupidity all involved. Holy shoot. That is okay. That's funny. So, okay, yeah. Okay. In the 80s, tattoos were a subculture and seen as negative. Yes. Yeah. I would agree with that. Actually, it's kind of funny because when Ashton turned 18, he got a tattoo. And it was just a very simple tattoo that he actually ended up getting. He modified it so it's a lot nicer now, but it's basic. He's a Pisces, so he got the symbol, the Pisces symbol. And and I remember when Mark first saw it, he was really proud of it. And Mark's like, he's like, if you ever get another tattoo, I'm going to kick your ass. That's coming from his grandfather. I thought that was pretty funny. It was a little cheeky, to be honest. Okay, Emmett, are you saying that you have Spock on your ass? That would be funny. I don't know how I'd be able to explain that one. Emmett, does one of your ears get longer? Oh, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I was talking to an adult student of mine. He was in the school just after I got this tattoo, and he was joking about getting tattoos in different places, and he had this friend who wanted to get a tattoo on his penis and like do it as a joke or whatever. And I was like, and Gordon was like, but if you ever do that, I don't want to know about it. I don't want to hear about it. And I said, well, I'll only tell you if I end up getting a lightsaber done, then I can just turn on the lightsaber. But let's see. He is definitely saying the P and live long and prosper is not for prosper. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's really funny. Oh, okay. Yeah, this has been a great show. It's fantastic. I don't know what it is. There's sometimes where like it's just one person, and sometimes I have a bunch of people show up, and it's just amazing. And I'm glad that Emmett probably has a day off because he's usually catching us in his car while he's driving home. It's not easy to explain. I don't think tattoo artists should be allowed to ink up a drunken teen, but yeah, Spock on my ass. Well, one thing I learned when I got my tattoo is, and it's so funny because they took my ID and just confirm that I was over the age of 18, all that kind of stuff. But in the state of Oregon and the state of Washington, where I'm in, tattoos, even with parental consent, kids under the age of 18 cannot get tattoos, like at all. Like if you're a legitimate tattoo artist, you would be breaking the law and you could lose your tattoo license if you gave somebody under the age of 18 a tattoo. And I was like, well, even with parental consent, like, because Alexa and all the kids, they want to do like memorial tattoos of my mom. We have, they each have a little bit of their ashes, and so they wanted to, put the ash in the ink, and which is mostly just symbolic, but then they do tattoos, and I was like, yeah, she's 17 now, so like I don't care, I'll sign whatever waiver. But my tattoo artist was just like, nope, like I can't do it, no one legit. But he says, like, if you want to go to like Montana, I think he said California, I can't remember, but he was like, he was like, there's these other states that do allow it, so you could do it. And of course my daughter, she's like, right on, road trip. I'm like, no. Tornado alert here. Got to crawl under the bed. Good show. Seriously? Oh, that's right. You are in Indiana. I didn't realize Indiana got had tornado alerts though. Okay. Well, Jim, if we lose you, then we lose you. Well, we don't want to lose you, but if we lose you from the show, I'm glad you were able to tune in. Oh yeah, and for those of you, if you guys have not no more. Oh, who is this? You have never been in a real fight in your life. Oh, I love these. Oh, no more. Hey, welcome to the show. So that's actually not true. I worked security for over 20 years. Some of that was as a bouncer. I've been in many, many fights. And yes, if your next question is, have I ever used pressure points in a real fight? Yes, I have. So those questions are done. Let's see. What is it? What was I going to say? I can't remember. Thank you, no more. Thank you for throwing me off my my stream. Let's see. Don't see one still listening. Oh, that's good. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, if there's anybody who has a Jim Korn story, if you have not submitted a Jim Korn story to me for Jim's memoirs, please please let me know. We can add you into the book. It is not late. We're still not late. Jim is still working on stories. So, because Alex, that's somebody else who's going to be at the seminar. Alex, cannot pronounce her last name for the life of me, starts with an M, but she's going to be in here from Germany. So she's coming in. She'll be at the seminar. So when she gets there, Jim will do a lot more recording. And in fact, if you're another great way to do it is if you're going to be at the camp, if you're going to be at Jim's camp, ask Jim, and then you can record a story onto Jim's little recorder, and then he'll upload it. Otherwise, you can either send me one, send me a video, and I'll transcribe it, or you can just type out the story and send it to me. Yeah, so there you go. Let's see. That's done, and I'll probably be reminding people of that. We just don't want to, we've got a ton of content already. I sent Jim the draft that I have so far, and so far he's really liking it. And I know we're going to be getting a lot more content from Jim, but I don't want to leave anybody out. So, and I don't think Jim wants to either. So I'm still, I wrote mine, but I think I might rewrite it. But it doesn't have to be just one story. It can be like a memorable knockout you saw him do, whether it was on you or you saw it, or just a funny Jim story that, that you were there when it happened, or maybe you have a cornism that you heard him say and you were just like, that was just, I'll never forget that. But yeah, so I'll just keep on reminding people. So if you got a Jim story, send it to me, or if you're going to be at the camp, he can record it. So let's see. What else? Yeah, that's so this week has kind of been crazy for me because of the whole move and the dealing with family and kind of trying to get out of my own head and all that kind of stuff. So I do have one thing. This is really one cool thing. I did a free lesson. I always do free lessons for new kids, or for new students. And yes, thanks in advance, everybody. in regards to the book. Yes. So I did, what is it? I did a free lesson, and I can't remember, the kid was maybe 9 years old, I think. And I don't have a like a new user experience or a new student experience written out. I kind of have it in my head. I've tried jotting it down, but I kind of do the same thing with new people coming in all the time. And so I ended up doing this one. It was just the two of us, and I had had a really I had had a hard day, but I taught like I had in my head, like as an instructor, we want to teach the best classes that we've ever taught, but we're also human. So sometimes we don't teach the greatest classes, or sometimes we teach good classes, but we walk away, with our students going, God, you know, professor or sensei, that was such a great class. And in your mind, you were just like, I sucked. Like I could have been so much better. No, this was an amazing class. I came back home and I just couldn't stop talking about it. Like for me, it was just such an awesome experience, because in my head, I touched on all the things I wanted to touch on. And so I was like, I got to write this shit down so I can replicate it. But yeah, it was really good, because the kid enjoyed it, the parents enjoyed it, and yeah, and really when it comes, I mean, it is important that the kids understand, the kids like it, but the parents have to see that good connection and all that kind of stuff too. So uh but yeah, now, have they signed up yet? The answer to that is no. But and I will let you guys know when they do, or if they do. But even if they don't sign up, it was a great experience for me, and I'm going to take that experience and I'm totally going to run with it. So, question: is being in a fight a true requirement to teach martial arts? I was taught to avoid fights. Even being a bouncer is a different fight than a robbery or assault. Ooh, this is a deep question. So yeah, that's a really, really good question. I don't think that the true requirement is to be able to teach martial arts. But I think it gives credibility. So maybe do a whole episode. Maybe do a whole episode on the question. Yeah, we are getting. Um, oh, oh. Okay, I don't know if you were talking episode like the podcast episode, but maybe do a Q Show Corner episode. That's okay. Maybe not for episode 200, but maybe that could be just. I love it. Okay, I love it. Hold on. Let me take a note really quick. Is okay, there we go. Let's see. Jim's okay. My opinion is no. No to Young's question. We're teachers, not fighters. I agree with that, because our job is to teach Yeah, I think I will dedicate a Kyushu Corner episode to this. I might even do interviews. I might even do interviews, because with our technical skill, with our knowledge. No, I don't think I would agree with Jim that that it being in a real fight wouldn't require us to, because we're teaching students how we're teaching skills. And even for the young kids, if we're teaching young kids, it's more of life skills like confidence and self-esteem and manners and balance and coordination and focus. Like for the little kids, as they get up there, so we're teaching them how to, and also how to avoid, or how to basically get out of a fight. But and I think a lot of people, I'm going to include myself in this too, we got into martial arts because we wanted to fight and we wanted to learn how to fight. But the longer we do it, the less we want to fight. So, and I think, and I'm pretty sure he is still not watching, but if he is, that's okay. So Mr. No More, who commented, and I see a bunch of comments coming up, so I'm gonna post those on the screen here in a second. I think that is a complete misconception, or really fits into an ego. However, I will go back, though I do, I don't think it's a requirement. I think that it does lend some credibility. So like when, as an instructor, it's like, yes, I was a security officer, or there's people who have been in law enforcement. Yes, I've actually, like, the stuff I'm teaching, I'm actually, like, I've used some of this stuff. And so, because I think when people get into martial arts, or like for me, I promote my school as a self-defense school, not a sport martial arts school. So, so I think if it was a sport martial arts school, if I was a competitor and I had won a bunch of stuff, that would give me more credibility. As a self-defense school, it's like, yes, I was a bouncer, I work security, I've used this stuff and I've talked my way out of stuff. Because I'll tell you this, my first week as a bouncer, got into several scuffles, and some of the stuff that that I did, like, I went home and I crossed off half of the stuff that I taught, because I was like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Oh, that works, and so it really came down to, I want to give my students the best thing. And that's coming from my experience. So I think if somebody doesn't have experience, that there's that credibility thing involved. But getting down to the core, no, I don't think you would have to. Let's see. So the last one up. All right. So thank you, Jim. That means a lot. There's a lot more to my response, more than I can text. I agree with Jim. Rob says, I agree with Jim. While I have been in more fights than I can count, most of them were due to win or lose, immaturity and ego. Yes, exactly. That's what I was saying. Not because of my martial arts. My students have many times used effectively the things that I taught. But see, there's a lot of things that I was, hold on, I won't, that like I was teaching that I thought in theory would work, but they didn't actually work. And, sometimes I got my ass kicked. Let's see. Also, those who are good in a fight don't always have the ability to pass on the knowledge. That is also true. And there's that, oh, No More is still watching. Okay, cool. There's, let's see. Where was I? Oh, Jim. If you have to learn to fight, spit in somebody's beer, if you want to learn to help others, then study martial arts. There's that old adage, if those who can't, or those who can do, those who can't teach. I disagree with that, because there are some that that can and do as well as teach, and then there are some that can do, just to Thomas's thing, they can do, but they can't teach. And then there's some teachers that can't do. So I think it's all relative. I have 2 students that became combative military teachers, and one became head police academy defense instructor. Oh, that's cool. All right. So no more is back on here. You're going to teach kids overconfidence in this Tai Chi choreography bullshit, and they're going to get their asses kicked. This will not work in violent, intense, aggressive encounter. Okay. So, you don't know me. You don't know how I teach. So I really don't think you have any context to where I come from. Like, and if you're trying to relate anything that I've shown, if you've paid attention to any of my Kyusho Corner episodes, when it comes to the points, it's, hey, this is how you activate it. And at the end of every episode, I say, oh, you've seen my episodes. Okay, so what do I say at the end of every episode? I say, take this back to your dojo, play, have fun, and be good to your uke. So you take it, you play with it. If it doesn't work for you, then don't use it. It's that simple. Okay, it's that simple. All right. So I don't know. Professor J, teach and fight. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Let's see. Plus, no name doesn't seem to know martial arts or Tai Chi. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't know no name, no more's history. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know what he does or if it's a he or a she or what, but obviously they take offense to what I do. So, and it is what it is. Haters hate. I'm not gonna judge them. You know, it is what it is. For kids, how many intense aggressive encounters do 9-year-olds deal with in Curiosity? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Can you no more? Can you answer that? I started at 7, and my most violent encounters happened in my late teens and 20s. Everyone punches a sweet spot. Some just know more sweet spots. Okay. I'm going to write that down, Jim. That's a great cornism. Okay. A sweet spot. Everybody write this down. This is some wisdom from Jim. No more sweet spots. Yeah. Yeah. Great one. Okay. That's written down. That's actually going in the book because I have a chapter at the end that says cornisms. And so it's just basically just a bunch of one-liners. And if it doesn't, and maybe I might just have, depending on how many show up, how many cornisms I get, they might just end up as quotes between chapters. So that's another possibility if it doesn't go in its own chapter. But right now, they're all being collected in one chapter. So let's see. Jim Korn. All right. Yes, it definitely goes in the book. So, okay, now I had mentioned early on that this was a great week to be a sci-fi fan because we have all these great sci-fi shows. So the first episode of Mandalorian, because now, it's been over an hour. Now we're going to get into our sci-fi stuff. So, if you guys haven't seen The Mandalorian, don't worry. I'm not going to be giving away any spoilers. Let's just say it was okay. Like, I wasn't like, oh my gosh. There's a line in there. We do see Bo-Katan. And I love Katie Sackhoff. I love her so much. One of my favorite sci-fi actresses ever. And I'm sure, because even though I'm married to a very beautiful, wonderful Black woman, I have this thing for blondes. I just do. Good show. All right, Jim, I will see you later. But anyway, so we do see her, and she does have this line, and she is so correct. So she's she is spot on when it comes to her line and the Mandalorian culture. So not going to give it away, but I'm just going to say she does have this line that nails it, absolutely nails it. Yeah. So I am excited for the rest of the season. Because sometimes, there's just shows that just aren't. Yeah. There are, what is it? There's episode 1 of Picard. It was good. My first reaction to it was like, huh? So it really wasn't. But watching the second episode, if I said, I think I said this last week, if Paramount had dropped episode 1 and episode 2 at the same time, like Disney has done the last couple of things for their Star Wars shows, I would have been I would have watched these 2 episodes side by side and been very satisfied. Last night's episode, it was really good. It was really, really good. I have not watched it again, but there's this thing that there's this Picard reaction that after this one part that he did, and again, I'm not going to give away. If you guys got to watch it. At some point, I am going to start getting into episodes. So, but I don't want people to walk away. But it might be like a couple weeks later, or maybe even after the season is done, or maybe when we go halfway through, Rob and I might do a show together and just talk about the season. I think that might be a good idea too. But then let's see. What was I saying? But anyway, so they're in episode 3, Picard does this thing, and it makes a lot of sense. And then he says this line that, has this action that for me, contradicts what he thought he was feeling or doing or anything like that. So that's my only question. It was a really good episode. And there were Gene Roddenberry would be rolling in his grave because there's lots of human conflict going on in this episode. And Gene was not about human conflict. Everyone was supposed to be yay. Gerald, sir, how are you? You're on the golf course. Oh, hey, did you know that in the 80s, I wanted to own a whole 18-hole golf course? You'll have to watch the beginning of this episode later. But anyway, I hope you do well. It's been forever since I golfed. Anyway, so now Rob says Rob agrees. I don't know if that's in I don't know if that's in relation to doing the show or whatever, or maybe he agrees with the whole Picard thing, or he knows what I'm talking about, because he and I actually haven't talked a lot about the episode, except that he said, you're really going to enjoy it. And then I said it was awesome. But giving a little bit more thought, I was like, well, wait a minute, that didn't make a lot of sense. But it's getting really good. It is getting really, really good. Let's see. The Bad Batch, that was actually pretty good. I like that. And then oh, yeah, okay. I figured so. And apparently it's in the 90s today in Jacksonville, or wherever Gerald is. Yeah, no, it's still cloudy and cold here. We're just I want this. I want the sun. I want it to be a little bit warmer. So, but Gerald, hope you have a good day. Let's see. But so far, Picard has been really good. The Last of Us, I thought was pretty good. It's more telling this last episode was more telling the girl story, kind of like where she fits and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I kind of liked it. I thought it was well done. Last of Us has not disappointed me. Like, having not played the game, I don't know what is gameplay and what is not. And so I've been kind of learning as we've been going, but it's one of those where it's like, no, this is a really, really good show. Like it's really, really well done. So I really hope that they keep on with that momentum. And another spam risk. Let's see. Survivor. I have not had a chance to see Survivor, but the new season of Survivor is on. So I'm, of course, huge Survivor fan. Really looking forward to that. And then, oh, shoot. Yeah, so that's kind of all I got with the sci-fi stuff. I think Rob and I will have to plan like a halfway through episode for talking about the show, and then you guys can tune in. You guys, if you want or not. Yeah, that's kind of it. Anyway, that's I got nothing else. My brain just, the Ark. So, yeah, I saw that you had posted something like that. Here you go. The Ark rocks. I have not seen the Ark. I have seen it come up. I have not seen it. I still need to watch the second season of Raised by Wolves, because the first season was amazing. Like, it was really, really good. And I couldn't wait for season 2. And then season 2 came. I didn't watch it. So it's just one of those things. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it for me. And as for the Ark, I don't know if I'll watch it. It might be one of those shows that I watch later on. Again, like, I was super, super excited for Foundation. Yeah, I haven't watched it, and season 2 is coming out. I've been off of work today and rewatched Fight Quest. That great show. Fight Quest. What's Fight Quest? Hold on. Now you got me curious. Oh, okay. I don't know if I've seen. Okay, I don't think I've actually seen that show. Let's see. It's really good, and the leading woman character is a redhead. Well, if redheads are your thing, that's of course that made me biased. Yeah, true. Ark is on my watch list, and I haven't gotten to see it yet. Same with Raised by Wolves. Of course, being in the middle of rugby season, my weekend is more about watching the games than housework, so I don't get in trouble with the missus. Van Damme. Oh, so there is actually a Van Damme series where he kind of plays on himself. Like he plays himself. He's an actor, but a secret agent, but he's really good. I think that one's on Prime. It's like 6 episodes long. It's super funny. I don't know if that's what you were talking about, Tom, but that's what it is. Let's see, the 2 MMA guys that travel and study different styles. So that's what I thought it was. I have not seen it, but was it Discovery Channel? There was maybe it was the History Channel. What? Who does this? Oh, this one is Discovery. I think this one is Discovery Channel. There is, and what was it called? It's a History Channel thing, and it had one was an MMA guy, and one was, it was like 10 episodes long. And so they went and studied karate. And actually in the karate one, they're actually taken to a secret back room and taught pressure points, which I thought was so funny. And then they did one on pancration. They did one on judo. They did one on MMA. They did one on Savate. They did one on there was another some I don't know if it was specifically Arnis, but it was like interesting. I was thinking the movie Quest with Van Damme. Oh yeah. Confusing TV and movies. But yeah, the one that I saw, similar to Fight Quest, but it was it was kind of the same thing that I'm guessing, but slightly different. And it was done, I don't know. I cannot remember. I can't remember the name. But I think it's also, it might be on Prime. I want to say Human Weapon, but that is not the right thing. But yeah. So, and I want to go back to those pictures because those guys did not. That is not the same. Those aren't the same people. Fight Quest. It was different. But I might have to check that out. That looks interesting. Because these guys also did Krav Maga. Yeah, shoot. I cannot, for the life of me, I can't remember that other show. Anyway, my tea is at its end. And my brain is turning to mush. So, thank you all for tuning in. Even to, I can't, whatever his name was. Look through. No More. Even to No More. I appreciate you coming on here and challenging me and insulting me or whatever you're trying to do. I don't care. Anyway, and Emmett, congratulations on your new child. I think that's fantastic. He has a last comment. Rugby is very good. Rugby is very good at minute 2. Six Nations here in Europe is awesome, though Ireland are smashing everyone. So, but yeah, thank you for everybody who tuned in today. And I will see you guys next Friday. And like I said last week, or maybe it was the week before, I'm still thinking about doing, bringing back Dojo Chat. Don't know how that's going to fit in yet, but that might be a thing here soon. So, Since you guys might not be able to see each other because one is on YouTube and one is on Facebook, Ireland is my team, and yes, destroying them all. So, all right, gentlemen, it's been a good show. I will see you all later. And until then, please stay safe and live long and prosper.